Well, hello and happy Friday to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're having a great week. Now, I certainly think those of you who are investors are probably having a pretty good week. In fact, lots of news coming out on just how well this financial stock market is doing. In many ways, I would say that this stock market is complete bananas. And if you don't say that already, you should say it's bananas, because I'll tell you, I'm talking to so many financial professionals right now, and we actually all think so. It's not that it's a bad thing. It's certainly a good thing. The Dow Jones just broke. And the big news is that it actually has done away with all losses for 2020. I mean, you would think if you were looking at just the stock market that we weren't in a pandemic, we weren't sheltering in place, and there literally everything's great, peachy, and happy, and we're going to be going into the fall season and everything's normal. It's so interesting that the stock market really continues not to reflect the true reality of the economy, and so many Americans continue to be unemployed, as we saw again this week. Another 1 million Americans file for unemployment benefits, and so much more. In fact, today, MGM announced that they are actually doing layoffs of 25% of their workforce. And it's just not a statistic. It's not just a number. These are actually Americans, friends, neighbors, relatives that are currently just being notified that they will no longer have a job. And how are they going to make ends meet? It's such, to me, it's complete bananas. So much madness that the stock market continues to do well, and yet so many Americans are suffering because of unexpected, uncontrollable impacts because of the economy and because of this pandemic. And we're not even there yet. The pandemic is not behind us. And in fact, the CDC came out today and announced that they said when there is a vaccine, that there will be a shortage of a vaccine. This is not good news. This is not positive information. Yet, if you're looking at the stock market, you would think that there was so much good news, and yet there isn't. So today, this week, I should say, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows had a call. I guess it was a 30-minute phone call. And the end result was they continue to be very much far apart from coming out with another round of stimulus funding for so many Americans who are still waiting to see if they will receive another stimulus check, if their dependents will receive more funds, and yada, yada, yada. They continue to be that far apart. I don't know about you, but if you think about it, they should have some sort of resolution or have some give or take and do something, because we're talking about millions of Americans right now that are suffering, that continue to be out of work, continue to need some direction of whether they're going to be able to make rent to pay for their shelter next month, or if their houses are about to be foreclosed, how are they going to make their mortgage payments? It's like, I don't know, don't even get me started on that. It drives me bananas, because I'm thinking, if I were doing this, if I were part of this discussion, I would say, like, okay, boys and girls, let's sit down. Let's have a discussion, because, it's not about how you feel about each other. It's like, we have a lot of people that need help. And you know what? The next time you can't make a decision, I'm going to start taking money out of your pocket. I'm going to take some of your salary until you make a decision and come together and come up with a resolution to help Americans. Neither of you is getting paid. Neither of you is going to be able to make your rent or your mortgage, and neither of you is going to know where the money is going to come from for your groceries next week or your medication, and then we're going to get somewhere. So I feel like this is what is such a necessary thing for us to do. For sometimes, I think we get into that mode where we're reading statistics, we're reading about things happening not in our neighborhood, not to people that we're spending time with each and every day. And so it becomes unrelatable. And my concern is with the politicians going on. I was just talking to actually one of my team members, and I said, lately I've been spending a lot of time with my kids playing with their Nintendo thingy, because I want to, they love it, and I want to be part of this. And it's actually really fun. And so because of it, I've been reading so much less about the political news, right? And I said, I've been feeling so much better because of it. It's not even the Nintendo. It's just like not having time to read this, and therefore it's a beautiful thing. So I think what I would love our politicians to do is literally take them from wherever they are and force them to stay a week, a month in a community that they're making decisions on, and seeing people who are unemployed, seeing people who are on the streets, and then maybe that will give them the incentive that they need to come together for a decision. None of us want to spend more money adding to our federal deficit. We are all in agreement there. We all know that we don't want to spend more money, but we also know there's so many people that are suffering. I don't know about you, but in my neighborhood, I'm actually seeing more people financially struggle than ever before. And it's not like I live in an area that many of you would be worried driving through, but that's the reality, is that it's affecting everybody. Everybody is suffering. Everybody is going through different levels of anxiety and sadness and happiness, I'm hoping, on some days too. But that's my opinion. Take from it what you will, but I wish our politicians would get on it. You know, if it's $1 trillion, just go ahead and spend $1 trillion first, get it to Americans that need it, and then come back and discuss the next trillion. But don't stop it completely and keep it at zero. Why? It's crazy. It's craziness. All right. But that being said, the good news for today is the Dow has erased all the losses for 2020. As you know, the Nasdaq's been doing well for a very long time. In fact, the S&P 500 is up 8% for the year. So we continue to see strength in the financial markets. In fact, one of the analysts came out to say that because Apple and Tesla recently did a stock split, that in fact, those two companies and their activities are going to, in their projection, continue this tech rally for who knows how long. But this is what they're saying. These are things that they're saying. So I thought I would share that with you. I know we've got a lot of questions that we want to go through, and unfortunately, it looks like I do have a meeting in not short hour. But let's take a couple questions today, and then we'll continue on next week, and then you can have a beautiful weekend, and I can get to my meeting. All right, let's go ahead and share some of the questions. Let's see what we got today. All right. I've been watching you every day. Well, first of all, thank you so much for that. And now that the market seems to be doing so well, where should I be investing, or do I just wait this out? I feel like I've missed out on all this stock market activity. All right. Thank you so much for your question and your comment. And I got to tell you, your question is actually not surprising, because I've been hearing this not only from you, but many of my clients as well, saying the same thing. Like, oh my goodness, I thought the market was going to do so horrible because of the pandemic and COVID. And so I was thinking of moving everything to cash and commodities and gold and all this stuff. And then market keeps on going higher. And what do I do? Well, I would say, first off, take a breather, relax. The most important thing you want to do now that you realize that you want to participate in investing and doing this is to be proactive, is to breathe, take a moment, set up a call. Please set up a call with a financial advisor, maybe in your neighborhood or somebody that you know, or if you don't have anyone that you know, you can definitely set up a meeting with myself or somebody on my team. We'll be happy to set up a free consultation, and let's put pen to paper and get something moving. Get proactive, figure out where you stand financially, set up your budget, figure out your emergency fund, set up a portfolio, okay, and set up a strategy, make a list of things that you would love to invest in, and let's build a portfolio together, and let's get you invested. So definitely don't worry. A lot of people in your situation, the good news is, though, I will share this with you, food for thought. Whenever you have money, there's always going to be something available for you to invest in. Okay, so don't feel like you're missing out. You've got plenty of years ahead of you, hopefully. And so those are things that we need to discuss and flush out. I'm having these calls each and every day. And so set something up. If you reach out, and Curtis on my team is going to share with you where you can do that. You can go on this website. You can request a meeting, and we can probably get something set up in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So in fact, sooner, if you have a need to meet sooner, we can definitely make that happen. We've been actually doing meetings, setting up meetings as quickly as even within the week, depending on availability. So there that is. So great question. Okay, so that's the website. You can see we're sharing that out right now. The link is below for you if you're not sure. It's actually really easy. It's just Sun Group, like Sun in the Sky Group, and WP. So I don't know, use whatever word will remember WP, but that's where we're at. Okay, next question. Let's do it. I'm loving this. What do we have? All right. Okay, with sheltering in place, I'm saving more money from my job than I have in the past. I funded my emergency fund like you say to do. What should I do next? All right. Great question and great comment. And I'm so glad that you've heard me say to invest in your emergency fund. And so great job funding your emergency fund, right? You heard me say that 6 months of living expenses in emergency fund is that first step. The next thing I would do is certainly make sure that you get your budget worksheet done. Make sure you know where your budget stands. And if you need that resource, you can download your free budget worksheet today. You can do that right now. Figure out your budget for the next 3 months, then do an average, multiply that by 12. That's how much you spend. Once you have that information, then take a look at that and we can start actually putting together a financial plan. What I want you to do next step would be to spend this weekend to categorize your top financial goals, your 5 big financial goals. And then I want you to rank them most important to least important. Now, if you're actually planning for you and your family, have your family do that same thing. That's going to be your next step. And then what you want to do is figure out where you're investing your 401k, your IRA, your 403b, whatever that may be. Consolidate all that information and get really organized and figure out where you stand financially and then how much you can save or invest each and every month and put together a goal, like a savings number goal. I'm not even talking about investments yet, but figure out your goal and how much you would like to have saved up before December 31st and start working on that. And then once you get that exercise done, that's actually some of the steps that we do when we meet with clients. Once you get that done, then the next step will be to make sure that you rebalance, all right? So if you're not sure and you need more on that, feel free to reach out, but that is the next step I would take if I were you. All right, next question, what do we got? I'm gonna try and get through as many of these as possible so that, because I have to jump into a meeting with Adobe, I don't wanna let them wait. All right, next question, should I use my HELOC or my credit card to pay for a much needed improvement on my house? Okay, great question. So I get it. You want to make an improvement on your house or a change, and it's going to be a larger expense. So you're asking whether or not you should put it on your credit card or put it on your home equity line of credit. Now, I'm going to ask you this. Now I know you submit a question. If you can answer this, great. If not, then I'm going to make some assumptions here. One question I would ask is, do you have the monies to pay for this home improvement out directly? Okay, I'm going to assume since you asked me credit card or home equity line of credit that you don't. But let's just assume you do. Let's say you have the amount of money in your bank account, or maybe you will over a series of months to pay this off. Then this is what I would suggest you do. I would actually suggest you, if you can pay it off all in 1 month, I would absolutely put it on a credit card. And I would consider putting on a credit card that can actually earn you points and miles or cash back, depending on which benefit you enjoy most. Put on a credit card, collect the points or collect the cash back, okay? And then pay off that bill right away. Now, if you need to pay it out over a series of months, then I probably wouldn't suggest you do it on the credit card, because a credit card typically has a pretty high interest rate. However, if you selected a credit card that has maybe a promotional rate or like a 0% rate, then you could consider putting on your credit card, earning the points and paying it over the term that you had that 0% interest on that credit card. However, assuming that you don't have the money, okay, in your bank account, but you need to pay it over a series of time, then I would definitely consider the home equity line of credit, because a home equity line of credit, in most cases, because the Fed fund rate, interest rate is at near zero levels, in most cases, the home equity line of credit interest rate is really attractive too. In fact, mine's at like I think like 1.5%. It's a really low rate. So that would be okay to put that expense on your home equity line of credit and pay it off over the next few months or beyond. I would check in with your bank to see what the terms are. If you do put a balance on your home equity line of credit, I would recommend you do so via the banking app or website, and send it through digital messaging. And that way, when you get a response, it's actually in writing. If they don't give you the response in writing, ask them to send you your contract once again on your home equity line of credit and make sure you have that information in front of you. And if you need clarity, again, send another message and wait for them to respond. Most banks will send you a response within 24 to 48 hours. So that way you'll have your information before making that major purchase. So great question. Hope that was helpful. Next question. Let's see what we've got. Okay, I know I should save money for my kids, but I don't even know where to start. Should I just open up an account at the bank or go with a college savings plan? And if so, which one do I choose? All right, great question. Great question. And thank you so much for asking. I think a lot of parents are in that situation too, where they know, the children are getting older. In fact, my youngest just turned 7 yesterday. And sometimes we just forget that they're getting older and they're getting closer to needing money potentially for college. And, sometimes I hear parents say, well, Winnie, is college even going to look like what it is now? I feel like I don't even know whether or not I should save for college. And my answer to that is I'd rather save and not need the money than need the money and not have the money. So if you're just starting off and you're thinking of how to save for college, first off, congratulations. That's I love that you do that you're thinking that way. And I actually, as a parent of 3 children, I highly recommend that you do start saving for college. Now, I would recommend and think about the easiest way for you to automatically save for this goal. So for example, for my kids each do have college savings accounts. And in fact, each of them has more than one, because there are certain college savings plans that I think are stronger in one area of investing and the others are. And so I like to diversify them based on the money manager's strength within the college savings plan. And I know there's just those tax benefits as well. So what I would say is be honest with yourself. If you're just starting off and you're already overwhelmed by so many other elements of your life, you can certainly just set up a bank account and you can label it college savings for, your child's name. And just every single month have maybe $10 up to $500 up to $1,000, whatever that amount will be, have it automatically move from your account to your child's account automatically. You want to take yourself out of this equation and have it done automatically, because when that happens, there's a higher likelihood that you will save and you'll save consistently. And what I also recommend that you do is whatever amount you think you're able to save, I would challenge you to double that amount. So if you think you can save $50 a month, I would challenge you to try and do $100, at least for the first month or first couple months, and see how you feel. If at the end of the month, it still works within your family's budget, then just leave it at that. Okay. Then once you can get to, I think, at least $2,000, once you've saved up to about $2,000, then in my opinion, it does make sense to look at a college savings fund. The reason why I say $2,000 is because a lot of really good college savings plans, not all of them, have a custodial fee for a college savings if your balance is under $2,000. So I really like not paying custodial fees if I can. So I also think that at $2,000, you're at a good situation. You're at a good point where it makes sense to take a look at different college savings plans, look at the different investments, and make a decision on which way you want to go for your child. But when you're first starting off, just let yourself build up that little pool in a bank account or a savings account. And then when you get to that level, in fact, you can even reach out to me, set up a call with me, and I'll help you pick a college savings fund. And then we can start investing in that. Okay, so that would be my recommendation. Let's go with another question. All right. What is the best way to keep track of my spending? If it's too complicated, my son won't use it. All right. So you're looking for a savings tool to keep track of your spending for. I'll tell you what I use. I'm with you too. Like, it's not even that it's so complicated. We just so busy in life. I would say one of the easiest ways to do this, especially this is a method I would actually use on my kids when they get to this age, is to have them put everything maybe on a debit card. I wouldn't say checking. I wouldn't use cash, because it's hard to then, after the fact, go and write down in your ledger how much you spent and everything else. But maybe a debit card would be good, because the debit card, you would see each charge, right? And tell your child, even if it's like a $1 or $2, soda that you're getting at the campus, cafe, whatever it may be, put it on that debit card, because that helps you track that spending. And then really encourage them to use that instead of cash. I mean, right now people are using less cash anyways because of the coronavirus. So it's very common now that everybody is using plastic. And so a debit card is good for that. It also prevents them from overspending, which is a good thing. Then once they're graduated from that and you feel like they're really good about keeping track of their spending and they have a good control of not overspending, then I would graduate them over to possibly a rewards or cashback earning credit card for that same purpose, and then set it up so that it's automatically paid in full and being pulled from their checking account each and every month. That way they're developing credit history. You're still getting that ledger of expenses, and they're going to get some sort of benefit along the way too. So that's what I would recommend. That's the easiest thing. Now, if you want to make it, I think, more complicated way would be to start a spreadsheet. Can you use a Google Sheets or something like an Excel spreadsheet and keep track of that? I find that to be really an antiquated way of keeping track of my budget. That's just me personally. I know many people prefer to write everything down, and that's great. I'd rather use technology to keep track of that, and then using my app and taking a look at what I'm spending each and every month. That's how I do it. And that's what I actually recommend you try, because it might work very, very well for you and your son. All right. So great question. And just as a reminder, I'm actually, I want to encourage you to do this. It's sort of, one of my friends calls it AMA, which is like, I guess, ask me anything. Ask me anything financial, your money questions. Don't hesitate. So if you think about something, you literally can, even if we're not live, you can send it to me via direct message. You can send it on social media. You can go on our website and submit it for me too. And that's actually where we get so many of these questions from, is you, as well as people that we meet with and social media that ask these questions. And that helps not just yourself, but other people as well. And you can always replay it for answers. All right, next question. What do we got? Okay, question is, what websites, podcasts, or articles do you recommend I read this week to learn more about money? Okay, well, I love that question. And I'm going to share with you a little secret. I love reading financial news, probably because I'm a geek. But that being said, the reason I love financial news over other types of news is I do feel like when you focus on the numbers and the figures and the stats, it tends not to be so sensationalized, right? It's not like so dramatic and so extreme. I mean, some articles definitely for sure, but I love reading like the pure numbers. Like I love reading the figures on every Thursday. I love following the statistics, what's done well. I mean, that's just very much black and white. So I would say, I'll tell you what I read. And if you want to, you can join me as well. I love, obviously, because I'm on the CNBC Financial Advisor Council, as you know, so I'm a big fan of CNBC. If you're just starting off, an area that is really powerful is actually the CNBC tab on personal finance. This teaches you a lot of the things that we actually discuss here live on the show. Another area that I love is Yahoo Finance. Great content there, great information. And also the Wall Street Journal has a really good podcast series too. So if you want to listen, you prefer to listen, that's a great way to go. I really love consuming my content via video, because I like to see what people say and I can read their body language. So if that's your category, it's great, because you're here with me and you're seeing me talk about the financial markets every single day. And I want to say, Get It Hair, for example, I get a chance to see her on social every day, and I love it. This is a great way for you to have that interaction, right? So if you have a question right on the spot on something I just discussed this morning, or I shouldn't say this morning, earlier today, maybe it's about the Dow racing all the 2020 losses, something like that. You can literally on the spot send me that question. I can see it, and we can resolve and have a discussion and move on. So those are the places that I'm going to do. And plus, thanks. I really like this question. I'm going to think about this a little bit with my team, because maybe what I should do is come up with maybe 2 or 3 articles of the week that I can share with you that I think you should be paying attention to. That might be really helpful. And in fact, if you think that's a good idea, I'd love for you to share that with me and tell me how you think about that. And, and then we'll put something together. Because one thing that I got recommendations for is a lot of people wanted me to come up with a book club on recommendations on books that I've read or I've been looking through or been presented with that might be of interest and helpful to you. So I might actually do that. So I'd love to get your thoughts on that always. But thank you so much. I really appreciate all your questions. And we will continue to collect them. So keep on sending them to me, and then we'll answer them again next week. As you know, I do questions from you on Wednesdays and Fridays, and sometimes if we get a lot of them, we'll answer some on Mondays as well. So keep them up. That's how we all learn together. But most important, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's do a quick shout out, and thank you for Get It Hair for being here. I want to say thank you to Santos Cortes for being here, and Jones GP. Thank you all so much for being here, and everybody else that's tuning in. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. But do me a favor, if you find this content helpful, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Winnie Sun TV. Turn on that golden bell so it gives you notifications every time we go on live. And of course, if this content is helpful, share it with somebody. You can share it. We're always on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and gosh goodness, everywhere else too. Thank you so much. I'll see you again on Monday. And if you happen to be around, I'll be on Fox Business again on Monday. And on Tuesday, I'll be on Digital Trends. So see you soon. Have a